Right, today I'm going to be visiting a church in Paphos. It's a famous church, and there's a pillar, the pillar of St. Paul. I've been here about 6 years ago, and it wasn't dug out. There was no archaeological dig going on, and it was just a little fence with this little pillar sticking out of the ground, and it was rumoured to be the place where St. Paul was whipped and tortured by the local population because he was getting on the nerves talking about Jesus and the Gospels. So I like storytellers, and I love this story, and I sort of feel I've been to Jerusalem last year, and I've been to Rome, and I like holy places. I think you get something from them, and there's a little bit of history here. Well, there's a lot of history. If you can see, there's lots of Roman ruins, there's Ottoman baths. So the Ottoman Empire, the Roman Empire, and the Greeks all landed in this little bit of Cyprus. So I'm going to look at a few churches today, this one and maybe the big one in town. St. Paul was undoubtedly, he's in my top 3 saints. St. Paul, St. Francis and St. Peter. St. Paul of Tarsus, was a tax collector, and back in the day tax collectors were very different to the people who work for HMRC today. They weren't accountants, they were more gangsters, and they took the money that was owed to them by whatever means possible. So Paul, or Saul, wasn't a good man. He was a Greek. He wasn't a good man. Not that all Greeks are bad, but he changed miraculously and became the best storyteller in the world. He carried the gospel, he carried the story about Jesus all over Europe and all over the civilized world, into Africa, everywhere. He was passionate about this, and he changed completely. I love stories like that. I love stories about people who change, because it's big for me. There's also, my other 2 top favourites are St. Francis, who was previously known as John Bernardone, who was a mercenary. It was somewhat like Rambo, got burnt out with all the killing and pillaging and this, that and the other, and ended up living in a cave in the mountains. I sort of identify with that, and he completely changed. He became a gentle person. And St. Peter, who was the most reluctant saint going, but I love that, because I'd like to be a saint, I think, although reluctantly, probably more reluctant than St. Peter. But that's my sermon for today. I know I shouldn't do this, but I think St. Paul, and even Jesus, was a bit of a lawbreaker, and I feel compelled, so I'm going to, there's a fence around here, and but here's the pillar, and here's me, and I'm going to try and, I've done this before, but it was just 6 years ago. Right, I've touched the pillar. Kiss the blarney stone if you want, superstitious, but I believe that St. Paul was there, and he was whipped almost to death for carrying a message, for telling a story. You can get into a lot of trouble telling stories,